Welcome to Real Talk with Reginald D. I'm your host, Reginald D. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about when your faith speaks. Let's talk about faith. What is faith? One of the definitions of faith is to have complete trust in someone or something. See, there's going to come a time in your life where you have to use faith to get you through. Your faith will make you stronger. It gives you something to hold on to while you're going through a situation. Faith gives you positive thinking. Your dreams and desires are going to take faith to achieve them. Your dreams may be wanting to own your own business one day, but you don't have the startup money to do that. As long as you believe that it's meant for you and trust that God will help you find a way to get what you need, that's your faith speaking to you. Even though you might not see how, but you still believe that you can accomplish it. Hebrews 11 chapter 1st verse says, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what you do not see. You got to have confidence in knowing that what you desire is for you. Have confidence knowing that your dreams are not just dreams, but the thing you dream about having for your life is from God. So if it's from Him, then it has to happen, and it will happen if you keep the faith. You also have to put in the work towards what you want for your life. James, the 2nd chapter, 17 verse says, faith without works is dead. The work is on you. So you have to understand that when God is pleased, He will reward. That's why the Bible says without faith, it is impossible to please God. Think about this. How many remarkable stories have you heard about that happened to other people? It was all because they had faith while they were going through their circumstances. I need you to understand that God will honor you at your lowest point if you keep the faith and believe in Him and what He has for your life. I had something that happened to me a couple of months ago. I came down with the flu. Then my wife ended up catching it from me. Now keep in mind that my wife has never been sick the whole 10 years of me knowing her. But this particular incident, she started not feeling too good, and she tried to stick it out. About 4 days later, I convinced her to let me take her to the doctor. So we get to the doctor and they check her vitals. And the doctor immediately said that they were calling the EMS to rush her to the hospital. Her oxygen levels was low. Her blood pressure was super low. Her vitals were all out of whack. So we get to the hospital and they admitted her. Once they admitted her, I really realized how bad this was. Her kidneys were shutting down. Her oxygen levels were low, and she was put on oxygen and given breathing treatments. The virus also attacked the lungs, which made her have trouble breathing. A couple of days went by, and it seems like things were not improving. So I'm sitting there watching her lay in this bed, weak and helpless. Man, it hit me that I might be losing my wife. I didn't know if she was going to pull through this or not. And what really got me was that I felt so helpless and couldn't do nothing. You got to understand, I'm the type of guy that try to fix everything when it comes to my family. Whatever situation that arises, I'm going to try to fix it. I don't want them worrying or nothing like that. This particular time, I was helpless. Our daughter came down from another state, and she relieved me so I can go home and get some rest. When I left the hospital, I began to cry, not knowing what's next. But my faith kicked in. My faith began to speak to me. I heard it's not over. Once I heard that, my boldness and my confidence kicked in. I said this to God. I said, God, I'm not a perfect man by no means. I said, but I help people. I help feed the homeless or people that simply don't have food in their house. I help people in so many ways. I have been a servant. And I said, if I've gained any favor with you, can I cash it in right now for my wife? Don't you know when I got to the hospital the next morning, my wife's vitals, her kidneys, and everything had started functioning properly, to the point they released her from the hospital to come home. Keep in mind, prior, they didn't know how long she was going to have to be in the hospital. But faith pulls her through. Even though I couldn't see it happening, I understand now that it wasn't up to me to see it. God needed to show that He is still God through the midst of it all. So you're in a situation right now that you can't see how you're going to overcome it. It's time for you to allow your faith to speak to you. Say, I will overcome this. I will not be denied for the things I want for my life. It will happen. If God brought you to it, he will see you through it. Just trust and don't waver. If you have faith, you will receive whatever you ask in prayer. You may be in your darkest moment right now. You're weary and not understanding what's going on. Let your faith strengthen you. You got to understand that the Bible says faith can move mountains. If it can move mountains, it definitely can move your mountain. Just believe it, man. Don't let your doubt create mountains for you. The more you doubt, the bigger your mountain is going to appear. Don't you know if you lose faith, you will lose it all? Keep telling yourself that you are good enough. Tell yourself that you will achieve your dreams and desires. When you think of those things and speak those things, that is nothing but your faith speaking to you. There has been plenty of times in my life that I was living in the unknown. Didn't know what was next for my life, but I had to keep the faith and trust God through it all. Do you know where the disconnect comes from in people's lives? The disconnect and the reason they don't achieve the things that they want for their life is because they simply fail to realize that God has faith in them. God trusts you. He trusts you with your gifts. He trusts you with your vision. He trusts you with your dreams. That's why he gave them to you. You are sitting back trying to figure out if you can achieve the things you set out to achieve. And all the while, God's trying to get your attention and tell you that, hey, I'm over here, waiting on you. Use your faith to make the first step in walking into your purpose. If you don't step forward, you're going to always be in the same place, man. That's it. Telling yourself that you can is half the battle. Let your faith speak to you. Here's the thing about life. Life situations and challenges will either make your strength stronger or your weakness weaker. Your faith will always make you stronger. Without faith, you will be weaker. Keep speaking it to yourself and don't give up. Do you know that sometimes the most powerful things in life happens right when you're about to give up? Don't quit. Sometimes things have to happen in order to get you to where you're trying to go. Don't be weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. I need you to understand that your mind will believe everything you tell it. What you believe is what you're going to become. If fear keeps you up all night, make faith your bed and lay in it. You either stay up in fear or lay down in faith, knowing everything is going to work out for your good. I need you to keep the faith and knowing that you are equipped to do great things. I'm going to leave you with this. Do what your heart desires. Have faith and keep telling yourself that you can. Don't be afraid. No risk, no reward. Remember, life is a journey that is created with faith. In order to succeed on your journey, you have to have faith that you can. Allow your faith to speak to you by telling yourself that you will succeed and get what God has for your life. Just because it's taking a little more time doesn't mean it's not happening. Keep believing and keep the faith. Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with Reginald D. If you enjoyed listening to Real Talk with Reginald D, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. See you next time.